Hello and welcome to my studio. This is going to be a quick video showing you how I created a bokeh type effect background using Pan Pastels. I have sped the video up slightly, but I will be going into a more in-depth tutorial at some point very soon. Hopefully this will just give you a really rough idea of how I do it and show you how simple it really is. To begin with, I've just used 4 greens, starting from top to bottom: chromium oxide extra dark, phthalo green extra dark, chromium oxide green shade and chromium oxide green. You may notice that one of the pans is broken, but not to worry, they can still be used. The key is when you put your soft tool in to be careful not to pick up too much pigment, as the soft tool can grab too much when they're shattered like this. Don't forget to keep your piece of paper, printer paper, handy next to you for wiping off any excess pan pastel you may have on your soft tool, or for mixing any colours you may want. For this demonstration, I've gone straight onto the paper to mix the colours. I know some people may find it a little daunting going straight in on the paper to mix the colours. That's why it is always really handy to have the printer paper next to you for mixing and testing out any colours you want to before you put it on your actual portrait. I have done a video showing how I've mixed colours and a basic introduction to Pan Pastels. I'll pop a link below for you afterwards if you want to watch that first. First of all, I'm using the big round sponge. I just want to get the pigment down on the paper and my lights and darks in place. I'm being careful not to pick up too much pigment. We don't want to fill the tooth of the paper too quickly. I'm not getting too bogged down with the placement of the lights and darks. As long as they're in the general area, I can refine that later. This round sponge I find great for blocking in a large area quite quickly. We can go in later with the smaller soft tools and sponges to refine any placement of the shadows and highlights and any details we want to add in, although this isn't going to be a particularly detailed background as we're looking for the bokeh effect. Here you can see I've now changed over to the finger-shaped sponge. I'm using this to smooth out some of the transitions between the light and the shade, and also make some smaller marks, circular marks, as we start focusing in to really start trying to create that bokeh effect we're looking for. Again, as with the big circular sponge, I'm being careful not to pick up too much pigment. I'm also using the sponge in circular motions, as we want to create circles, large circles, small circles, and I reflect the circular motions, i.e. I do larger circular motions for larger circles and smaller circular motions for smaller circles. You won't believe what a tongue twister that last sentence was. I've tried about 4 takes to get it right and I've actually given up, but I think you get what I'm trying to say. Now I'm coming in with one of the smaller soft tools. This is a sponge that goes on a knife. They're replaceable and you can get them in different shapes. They're great for smaller mark making and finer details. I also want to come in with some really lighter areas now, so I've brought in the permanent green, and I will also bring in the chromium oxide tint shortly as well, which is very, very pale. You could mix a similar colour by using the chromium oxide and mixing the white. As I said in my video introduction to Pan Pastels, you don't need to buy the full set to get a great range of colours. Pan Pastels can be expensive when you're first starting out, although they actually go a really long way and they're really good value. It can seem quite a lot to fork out, so you can get away with buying a basic range of colours and mixing up so many different colours from there. Not only am I focusing now on bringing in the highlights, but I'm also really punching up those darks with the smaller soft tool. Don't forget to clean your sponge between each application. You can get residued pigment left on the soft tool, so it is a good idea to make sure you do remember to clean them. For this purpose I just have a piece of kitchen roll next to me and I wipe the soft tool over that, and then it removes any excess pigment and I can then go and pick up my next colour. As you can see now, I've brought in the chromium oxide tint and it is a really pale colour, but that can be mixed using a chromium oxide and a white, as I said earlier. As you can see, I'm still moving the soft tool in circular motions, smaller circular motions for smaller circles and larger circular motions for bigger areas. If I want to blend out any of the areas or soften any of the transitions between light and dark, I can just make sure there's minimal pigment on my soft tool and repeat the circular motions over those areas. or as I'm doing now, bring in my finger and gently blend again in circular motions over the pan pastel. I repeat the process as I've just discussed until I'm happy with the placements of the lights and the darks and the areas have been softened as much as I would like. I can't really tell you when that is. It's something you learn to judge by eye, and obviously it's very much a personal preference. But after plenty of practice you will learn to judge it yourself, and that's the beauty of art. You never stop learning and the practicing's fun. I also don't want to be too specific about telling you how to do things, as I think it's important that we all develop our own styles as artists, and if I did that then you would be learning my style and not developing your own. What I want to do is give you the confidence to use pastels and have fun doing so. Now you can really see I'm focusing in on getting those highlights how I want them to look. It may be hard to tell from the video, but I'll also be softening out those transitions as well, so we don't have any hard lines, as we don't want any hard lines in a bokeh background or any soft out of focus background really. I'm also focusing on softening out those transitions between light and dark. To do this I make sure I have limited pigment on my soft tool and I repeat the circular motions over the area I want to blend out. I would also use my fingers to do this, making sure my fingers are clean before I do so. It is now a case of just refining the background until we're happy with how it looks, and here you go, you have your bokeh background. Hopefully you will now see how relatively simple it is to create a wonderful background using pan pastels. I hope you found this video useful. If you have, please drop a comment or a like below and subscribe to my channel to be notified for more videos like this. See you all soon!